I know Dave always loves hearing from me. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I know you talked about Jalen Battles and Robert Morse some, before the series, and in those Zoom calls with players, everybody was real complimentary of those two as a double play combination. I know you got things to still decide in the spring, but do you see those guys as being your double play combination? And if so, what do you think about that? And who would be playing where?
Well, first question, yeah, 100%. That's our middle infield. Uh, they're both really good shortstop. I don't think there's a better second baseman in the country turning double play, uh, you know, than Robert Moore. So probably for the sake of the team, I would say Robert would play second and Jalen would play short. Um, just because I think that's just more experience at both positions. Jalen's played short forever and Robert's played everywhere. So, uh, but the double play is what's probably throws Robert over the top there. And what was the third question?
I guess, what do you think makes them such a good double play combination?
Well, I would say probably just their skill level around the bag. As far as Robert at second or short, just playing up the middle, it's very athletic and very aggressive. Super good, quick hands. Like I said, he can transfer the ball from glove to hand on its way as good as any second baseman I've ever coached. And then Jalen Battles, kind of the same type of guy. He's a little different style, a little more longer bodied kid, long arms, quick feet, really good arm. Jalen's one of those guys who won't show you his arm unless he has to. Turns a double play, coming across the bag as well as any shortstop that I've had with arm strength and accuracy. I just think those guys are just steady. You look at, Jalen Battles. I don't know if he made an error all fall until he finally made a throwing error in the series at the end of fall ball. And Robert, made a couple of errors in the series, but hardly had made any errors all fall as well. It was pretty amazing.
Hutch?
Dave, have y'all finished going through all your exit meetings with the players, and has anyone maybe notified you that they're leaving at the semester?
Well, no one's notified me that they're leaving, and I'm not done with my meetings. I'm in the middle of them. As a matter of fact, I just got done with a few and have a few more scheduled this week and a few next week. In most cases, it's not a hurry. There are some cases where kids are going to go to junior college and need to start making some arrangements. I've tried to do most of those. There might be one or two more that, are going to need to go, but nobody's come in and said, hey, by the way, I'm leaving. That's very rare that happens. It's usually a good two-way conversation, talking about what's best for the individual and then best for our team and what we see in the future. Obviously, what we see this spring and playing time. And, a lot of times it boils down to, what does this individual need to work on? And, example, if he's going to be redshirted here, he'd be better off going to a junior college and getting 150, 200 at bats and getting better, because if we don't see him play for a year, he doesn't redshirts here all spring. Then we have fall. We can't pencil him in the lineup in the future. And a lot of times we're just going to go with what we got or go get somebody else.
Nate?
Yeah, Dave, with Goodhart, are you comfortable by the spring playing him in the field, or do you feel with his arm he'll still strictly be a DH?
Well, the arm's definitely getting better. He had some injuries again at the end of fall and held him out a little bit, and we actually DH'd him on both. Once he got healthy, we put him on both teams in our series. He played for one team one game and one team the next, because we wanted to continue to let him hit. But defensively, fielding and catching the ball, I have no problem with it. I think he did a pretty good job there. He's confident he can do it, which is a big part of it. But as far as the throwing, the throwing's not there yet, but it's getting better. I think it's still going to be week to week, and we'll see how it looks when we get to January, February.
Clay? Hi, Dave.
Hey.
Your team has really had a lot of power of late. I mean, it's record power. What's it look like after you've seen them both in BP and in the fall, the power of this team compared to recent teams?
Well, you know what's amazing? You know, you lose a guy like Heston Kjerstad, hits a bunch of home runs, and Martin hits some home runs. A few others. We hit more home runs this fall than we did the last two falls. So, you know, we have athletic kids that can still leave the yard. They're strong. So I still think that the home runs are going to be a big part of our offense, but I do feel like we have enough speed that we should hit some doubles, turn some singles into doubles. And, you know, I just want to be able to go from first to third and second to home when we hit a hard single in certain situations. But we are going to have some guys up and down that lineup that have a chance to hit 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 home runs, and they'll start to add up.
Trey.
Coach, two-part question here. Who impressed you the most this fall? And then also, can you tell us anything about how the 2021 schedule is shaping up?
Well, the first question is really hard to answer. The second one, learning more every day on that. But there was a lot of guys that really impressed me. Maybe guys that came in and honestly were a little better than I thought they were, or maybe a little farther along. One of them would be Jalen Battles. You know, I think that offensively, he really made a move the second half. I think that just being around a bunch of good hitters and the work that, you know, that Bobby Werness and Coach Thompson have put in with them. I mean, Coach Thompson's worked these guys extremely hard this fall. And, you know, a lot of drill work, some experiments. When I say experiment, you know, making some changes. But Battle started out slow with the bat, and then the second half, he was a middle of the order type threat, hitting the ball as hard as anybody we have as far as exit velocity, hit some home runs, and really good to see. I mean, I would have to say Cullen Smith, who we got in the program last year. You know, Cullen was at a mid-major and was an all-conference players 2 years in a row, didn't get drafted, and said, you know what, I'm going to sit a year and I'm going to go to an SEC school. And looked at a couple schools. We got him to come here. He was going to sit out all last year. You know, did pretty well last fall for us, knowing he wasn't going to be eligible in the spring. Really worked hard in the weight room with Coach Kinsley, our strength coach, and led our team in a bunch of statistics this fall. Number one in batting average, on base percentage. He hit for some power, he hit for average, obviously. And he played everywhere. He played second, he played first, played some third. You know, those guys jump out at me pretty good as far as position players. So pitchers, a lot of them. I mean, a lot of good arms. I don't think we have enough time to go through them all. If you want to ask me a question about a couple of them, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Bob.
I'm still getting over the shock of seeing Trey's head without a hat. I thought it was sewn on there. But hey, Dave, you know, I know those are just inter squad games, but Connor Nolan didn't, you know, he seemed like he gave a lot of hits and runs. Is that any cause for worriers? Hey, these guys have seen him all fall. They kind of were dialed in, or just what was your take on what Connor did in those two series starts?
I mean, yeah, we're concerned about it. Our hitters have seen him a lot. Velocity was down a little bit. Breaking ball, you know, some good, some not so good. And they took advantage of everything. His last outing, he really struggled. He gave up a lot of hits in a couple innings, and that was that. So, you know, he knows what he needs to work on, and we know what we need to, you know, where we need to get him. There's a lot of competition here to get on the mound, and we feel good about our pitching.
Hutch.
Yeah, Dave, I was wondering if you could maybe give an update on one of your freshman pitchers, Nick Griffin.
Hey, Nick, you know, when Nick got here in the summer, he came a couple weeks early, playing catch, doing things. Arm wasn't feeling great. Got on the mound, tried to throw like a bullpen. I mean, you know, I'm thinking back a couple of months now. Didn't feel right. He never threw a pitch for us this fall. We shut him down right there, had him evaluated. Didn't get a great evaluation back. They tried to rehab, do some things, which never works, to be honest with you. I say fix it now. Now is better than later. And so here we are 2 months later, got it evaluated again. It was bothering him after he got to start throwing more. and he had Tommy John surgery about a week ago.
What's kind of his timeline? Is about a year, and then also he was one of your kind of highly rated recruits. I mean, what kind of were you hoping to get from him this year?
Well, what we were planning on getting from him, not hoping, we were planning on him being one of our better left-handed pitchers, a young guy that we could put out there and could, work his way into the rotation, whether it be middle of the week or on the weekend. At a minimum, maybe some middle reliever closer type as a freshman. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. So now our goal is to get him, back as quick as possible, but at the same time, get him to a level where he can, contribute a lot as a sophomore. Next year at this time, he'll be a year out. About the time the season starts, he should be just about 100%. The key is how hard they work, and they have to really, really work. And if we can get Nick to do that, I think he'll be better than ever, and he'll be a big part of our pitching staff in 22.
Hey,
Yeah, Dave, what are you kind of looking for out of Christian Franklin now? Just kind of stepping up, maybe where Kirstad or somebody like that left off as a leader and hitter.
Well, the leadership is already there. You don't really want to try to ask somebody to do it Heston did. I mean, that'd be tough shoes to fill. Obviously Franklin has power, and he has power at all fields. I mean, this fall, I can tell you, he had 5-6 home runs, 2 or 3 the other way, one on the top of that building, Oppo, just about. So he can hit him anywhere. He had a really good fall. Now, he had some games he didn't feel good about, but as far as the overall fall, I thought it was outstanding. Really good defender, throwing the ball better than ever. Defensive ability just seems to get better and better. Works hard, and Christian's a leader. He's a leader probably more by actions than verbal. He can get with you a little bit, but for the most part, he's just going to show you how to do it. And he hustles and works hard, and he's a good teammate. So he's definitely, has followed in the footsteps. I just think they're a little bit different type of player, but I think he's going to definitely pick up some of that slack.
Clay.
Coach, it's been kind of a weird year, to say it mildly, I guess, but you got Hobbs in late, then you didn't have your team, in the spring. And now you say your pitchers are really good and there's a lot of them. What's happened with your pitching, and why are you that way now? Is it just better arms? Are you throwing more strikes? What's going on with your pitching, Coach?
We've had Matt here a couple years. He came in late a couple years ago, right before the 19 season. Obviously, we had a tremendous season. The year after the 18 team, it was, supposedly one of the best teams that went through here and was. But the 19 team did everything they did for the most part, except win some games in Omaha. They matched them pretty good, and statistically were better. And then obviously, Matt had the pitchers all in the spring of 19, a little bit in the fall of 18 when he first got here, recruiting, and then had the team all last fall, and then the short season. So he's been around a while. Obviously, he's an outstanding pitching coach, really good recruiter. I'd say probably the difference between now and maybe in the past is that we have more arms. We've recruited maybe a few more pitchers than we had in the past. We've maybe had some guys develop, and you have to get lucky every now and then, keep kids from getting hurt, obviously, or have them come in hurt, because every now and then that happens. We had that this year. But it's just a good combination of outstanding coaching, outstanding talent, and more of them, keeping guys from signing. And that's credit to the coaches going out and recruiting some really good players.
Trey.
Coach, another two-parter. Have you talked with any other coaches on campus about how they deal with COVID? Is it different than what you guys are? Is it pretty much across the board the same thing? And then also, what's been the reaction of recruits to the new facility that you have been able to show them?
Yeah, I do talk to other coaches. I'm around the track coaches a lot because we kind of around the same facilities, pretty tight. And they're outside like we are. So it's more, I'd say it's a little more the same, so to say. But football, talked to coaches over there, a couple of assistants a little bit, and they're a lot more contact there, but they are outside most of the time. I haven't talked to Coach Musselman, really just kind of followed them, and they had their issues early, and I think they're over it. And we're all learning from week to week, and obviously it's spiking up a little bit now, and we're off the field and not around the guys as much. So we're a little concerned that we're going to have a case or two here or there, and then you have to quarantine a guy here and there. It slows you down in development and practice time. It'll be Thanksgiving before we know it, and then the Christmas holidays, and then here we go. So, it's I guess it's just a learning experience week to week. And you do pick each other's brains to find out what's working, and so far it's been pretty good. So, and then what was your second question? I did forget to answer your question about the schedule as well, didn't I?
I was going to bring that up too a little bit later if Kyle would let me. The second one was about the facility and what's been the reaction of recruits when you show them what it's going to look like.
Well, here's the problem. We can't recruit. We can't have anybody here. So I can tell you what the reaction is going to be.
Well, virtually.
Goodness, this is unbelievable, because that's our reaction about every day we look out there. Had a couple of tours through there. It's amazing. Very, very well thought out. Give credit to Hunter Yurachek for wanting to put it over there. I can honestly say at first, it probably wasn't my first choice, because you know what it looked like over there. But you never know when you get 1,000 dump trucks bringing dirt in, what you can do to a place. It's amazing. There's a lot of land over there, and it really has tied in with the facility. I'm looking at it right now, and it's going to look like it's been here forever. It's workable, and just the design, the layout, we're going to get better in there. We're going to be able to recruit to that building, work in that building. There's some things for the fans, obviously, but really it's probably 85% all about the players and development and recruiting, and getting better. So it's going to be, I can't wait to get kids here and walk them through that building, because I think it's going to help us sway kids or help them make a final decision without waiting as long as they have. And I'm thinking in many cases, they're going to cancel some visits and commit while they're here. And we have that happen to us a lot, especially with some of the Southern schools. They throw the weather at them, but nobody's got the development that we have now. And we're very fortunate to have it. As far as the schedule, just real quick, I've got a Zoom meeting with some coaches tomorrow and some ADs, so to speak, from the SEC offices that are in charge of baseball. And there's a couple of committees out there working right now. We're trying to figure this out, but I think bottom line is we want to play a full schedule. We want to probably control our schedule a little bit. If we knew that we were going to play and people weren't going to cancel games, or we're going to be able to afford to test their student athletes before they came to our campus, I feel like that we would play the schedule we already have in place. But if we don't feel confident with that, I think you might see we're playing more conference games where we can control what's up.
Kevin?
Hey, Coach, two-part question about a couple of players. First of all, Jackson Wiggins looked like he came in and had a really good Fall World Series. And then Caden Wallace did a really good job for the black team. Is he going to cross-train in outfield and infield this next spring?
Well, first off on Wiggins, I mean, Wiggins has he's just blessed with a lot of baseball talent. Got a big physical body, incredible arm. And he's confident. He doesn't get all uptight about things. I've told Jackson, I feel like that if he stays healthy and he wants it, he'll be as good as he wants to be. He could be special. So we'll see how that works out. Just a really, really good young pitcher that if he wants to do it, and he wants to get after it right now and really focus in on being a conference type starter as a freshman, he can do it. We've had him here. Nick Schmidt, same type physical type body coming in. He was left-handed and a guy that we didn't think when we recruited him that he was going to help us much as a freshman. Came in here and ended up pitching on the weekend from the time we started conference play for 3 years. So Wiggins could be that type of guy too if he wants to, and he really gets after it and works hard. But he's still a freshman, can have some good days and some bad days, but talent-wise, it's in there. Caden Wallace is obviously very talented, right-handed hitter. He runs well. He's got a tremendous arm. He's played third here. He's played first here. He's played right field. Yes, he's going to work at all three of those positions from now and until we open up, and probably throughout his freshman year. And he probably will play all three of those positions. We're going to find a way to get him in the lineup. Very mature, very strong, very serious. He's like all freshmen. I wish all freshmen had the same approach. They plan on playing now. And a lot of times you get the freshmen and they're just like, well, I'm only a freshman. I'll just kind of take my time with this. Some guys get in here and like, man, I'm not going to waste any time. And we love that.
We got time for a few more. Bob?
Yeah, Dave, now that the fall ball is totally over, I know you said before the series that this had been one of your best falls, and just wondering how you feel about the fall overall. And was there anybody in particular that helped themselves during that series?
Well, first of all, fall baseball was very competitive. We could put two pretty good teams out there that competed hard, and it would be a challenge every day. I never really sensed that even the returners were kind of ready to get off the field. A lot of times, long spring, short summer, all of a sudden, bang, you're back here. It's fall again. The older guys are like, wow, I kind of need a break, or I've already been through this, and let's just get to off season and be ready for next year mentally. I never really sensed that. I think it was just due to short season, obviously, and guys were gung-ho and they wanted to be out there. So it made fall better. So that's why I feel like it was one of the best falls we've ever had, if not the best, because guys showed up, hooked up every day, whether they were 18 or 23 years old. And that was really good to see. So, and what was the other part?
Was there anybody in particular that helped themselves during the series?
I don't know. I mean, again, you're talking, what, 6 games, 7 inning games. I mean, Wallace had a really good, the first 2 or 3 games of the series. He had 2 or 3 home runs, a couple doubles, and, looked good taking in and out in right field. And we hadn't played him there all fall. I mean, I'd have to say he helped himself. But it was really the same guys that had good falls. They just kept having good falls. And the hitters that they hit for the most part. And the pitchers that did pretty well did well. I think about Wicklander didn't have a great fall early, but his last couple of starts, he looked real good. And we were excited. His velocity's up. And when he's throwing the ball around the plate, he's hard to hit. But there were some other guys, I think about Evan Taylor, who's a kid that didn't pitch much last year. He stepped up and he's got a role with us now. He's throwing 92 to 94, 95 miles an hour from the left side with a good breaking ball. If he throws the ball around the plate, he's going to be awful tough for an inning or two. And, just guys like that, we had a transfer in here, Lockhart, steady Eddie all fall. I don't have a problem giving him the ball on the weekend. Just say, go get us 5 innings. We have a lead after 5. We got a bunch of guys in the bullpen that can shut you down. So those guys jump out at me a little bit.
Hutch?
Yeah, I had a couple of health questions. I know Tyler Cacciatore had a shoulder issue, but he didn't get surgery, at least early on. What was he able to do this fall? Do you think he's going to be able to do anything for you this season? And then also, you had mentioned Dylan Leach the last time we talked had an issue. Do you have any update on him?
Yeah, so with Tyler, so he hurt that thing, who knows, summer last year. We've been concerned about it for a while. Still wanted him to come in and, he's doing some rehab. It looks like it's not a surgery situation. And anytime you're talking about certain parts of the arm, there's some parts you don't want to get into if you don't have to. He's throwing, he's on, he's getting close. He's not on a mound yet. They're not spinning the ball yet, but he's a few weeks out. I think that right around the Christmas time is when he's going to be able to do a lot more. And then by the time we get our spring baseball started, we'll see what he can do. Obviously, he's behind. He's behind. He didn't get to pitch the summer ball, and you could go back the last year or two with some injuries. So hoping that he'll be able to help us this year, and if not this year, obviously in the future. He's a big kid, works extremely hard, really well liked amongst his teammates. So we're all pulling for Tyler. And then Dylan Leach he's a switch hitting catcher. Skipped his senior year of high school to come in here and help us out and learn and get ready for the future and catch some this year if at all possible. Well, had a really good fall, got better and better and better defensively, and was throwing a bunch of guys out. And the way I run fall ball, we give our guys the option to steal. If they steal and they get thrown out, they get to go back. They get thrown out again, they're out. So we want guys to run, but it also gives our catchers an opportunity to throw. And he threw a lot of guys out and they went back. So, but then he kind of tweaked his arm and just throwing, we're doing some drill work and, we had it MRI'd and everything you can do for the most part. And as of right now, it looks pretty good. We're going to take it easy with him all the way until after the holidays.
Last one, Trey.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to ask you, what does Bobby Werness bring to your staff?
Well, Bobby brings a lot. First off, Bobby has the experience of playing in this league and also playing professional baseball. And professional baseball, he had the opportunity to coach and even manage a little bit at the lower level. But he was a hitting guy there. He's worked with catchers. Obviously, he knows how to work with infielders. He brings a lot of energy every day as well. Smile on his face, upbeat guy. Love having him around. I tell the players really like him, and probably even more than that, they respect him. But just a lot of knowledge, both coaching and then the mental part of the game, and just being a former player here and doing a great job for us.
All right, that's going to wrap us up with Coach. Thanks, Coach Van Horn.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you.
Thanks.